Hello, thanks for tuning in. Thank you very much for all your comments on my previous video, which featured a call from the line. John, a 70-odd-year-old veteran, was calling in, explaining why he believes in the existence of God. And the call went badly in the end, in the sense that he was hung up on, etc. Of course, he was no angel, but I wondered whether it was really the right way for the call to go. About 50% of you, it's divided in terms of your comments. It's 50-50. 50% are fairly critical of Matt. The others are saying he deserved it, etc., etc. So I was glad to generate that discussion. And I've got another call here. There's another John from the same show, in fact. Very different kind of personality. And I'm going to be putting out exactly the same question. So I'll be staying with the call and talking at the end. So let's go with it.
This is John Marcus Daly giving you a call. I've been hearing your show, and I've been seeing a lot of people get on, and people of the world's voices get on and start talking, and it seems like they don't know what they're talking about. Seems like you got a lot of false believers in God that are getting on your radio program. And so I wanted to call up and get on your radio program. So I'd
just like to say very quickly that is probably just about the worst way that you can start a call, calling in to speak to Matt Dillahunty about why you believe in God, rubbishing other believers.
Ask you, Matt, what topic do you want to start first, the slavery topic or the demonstration of God, of the one God of the Old Testament, Jehovah? What topic do you want to talk about first?
Well, since the Bible absolutely, unequivocally advocates and allows for slavery, and specifically tells you who to enslave, how to enslave them, how you can beat them, all of those things. Why don't you just prove that there's a God?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this. I was not raised Baptist, Catholic, Mormon, or Hindu, or none of that. All that is garbage. It's all false doctrine. It's not real. Now, I can't make your mind. I can't change your mind, right? Deep down inside, I may think that you may believe
John, skip the preamble and just
get
to your evidence. No, I won't.
So
No, I won't. I just muted you. Don't tell me. As soon as you got on, I almost said, John, the thing you're going to need to immediately do is change. You seem to have a thought in your mind that you're one of the hosts.
I'd just like to say very quickly, I'm really glad that with this kind of character, Jimmy Snow and Matt Dillahunty are on. I'm glad it's not Aaron Ra and J Mike, because quite frankly, this John character will be absolutely running the show, and he'd be on there for a whole hour.
Of the show. You were calling in behaving very host-like. Let me ask a question. Hold on, let me finish. I'm not going to let you finish. What I'm going to tell you is we already agree that all the other religions are stupid. We probably think that yours is too. So let's get to your defense of yours, and now no more preamble. Go ahead, Matt.
All I need you to do is say, I believe in a God with these characteristics, and here's the reason why. That's it.
You're not.
Oh, he was yelling that whole time, apparently.
Hang on.
Okay, he's still yelling. Hang on, I'm toggling the mute button on my board.
Wild.
John, are you ready to actually have a conversation, or are you going to yell more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when you're muted, John, when you're muted, nobody can hear you. Hang on. No.
Okay, I won't. All right.
John, when you're muted, nobody can hear you, so talking is useless and yelling is even more useless. I want to hear what God you believe in and why you think anybody else should believe in that God. But we don't need you to tell us your life story, because that's not relevant to whether or not that God is true. We don't need to tell us what religions you aren't, because we could be here forever listening to this. All we need to do is for you to say, hey, I'm John. I believe in this God with list some properties, and here's why somebody else should believe it. It's that simple.
I'm unmuting now.
Okay, so you want me to state my position and not look at your position, right? That's what you want?
I would like for you to say, I believe in a God with these characteristics, and here's why you should believe in him too. And
I was raised. I was raised as a oneness apostolic believer, which you have no.
I muted him again.
Okay, I'm muting you again. John, I'm going to try this again. I don't care what you were raised with. It's irrelevant. how you were raised and how I was raised and what either of us might have been taught or whatever is irrelevant to whether or not there is a God, and more relevant to whether or not you can demonstrate it. So we're going to take you off mute, and I'm going to try this again. I don't know how many times I can try this, but all we need you to do is describe the qualities of the God that you're going to defend, and then defend it to explain why people should believe it. Let's try it again. Hi, John. Welcome to the Sunday Show on the Line. What God do you believe in and why?
I believe in the God Jehovah of the Old Testament, who spoke to Moses out of the burning bush. I believe in the one God who created even the heavens and the earth. I believe in the one God Jehovah who created Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And the reason I believe it, I have an experience with the one God, so I know that he's real. Because when I obeyed Acts 2:38 and repented of my sins, I felt the presence of God all over me. And I began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit of God gave the utterance. You're in no position to judge.
All right. And so we stopped after you were giving your evidence because you decided you wanted to yell, "You're in no position to blah, blah, blah." You're muted again, just so you know right now.
Nobody can hear you. And that's unfortunate because if I'm understanding you, you're saying that you believe in the God of the Old Testament, the God that created the heavens and the earth and Adam and Eve, and that your reason for believing this is because you had an experience with God. That's interesting, especially since we already know from science that there was not actually a literal Adam and Eve. But you're not saying that you believe in the God of Adam and Eve because of Adam and Eve. You're saying you believe because you had an experience. What experience did you have, and how can you demonstrate that it's from God?
You're unmuted. Oh,
John?
Did you not? Hang on, John. Sorry. I was muting on the board. I think we muted also in the software. So
yeah, I think we both did.
You're now actually unmuted. Go ahead, John. Answer Matt's question.
Okay. So I had an experience with the one God when I was 16 years old. My mother raised me in the church. I wasn't raised in the world like you two. I was raised in the church. And so
Excuse me.
mother.
No, I'm going to mute you. I'm going to mute you, and you're going to listen because I've been incredibly patient with you, and I'm asking you to tell me about your experience and how you know it's from God. But instead,
Yeah, well, it's kind of relevant. He was raised by his mother in the church. I guess that would have involved going to services, going to Sunday school, etc., reading the Bible at home, praying with mum, and basically going along with all the indoctrination.
instead of doing that, you've decided to say that you were raised in the church, unlike me. Fuck you. Don't talk about how I was raised or my mom. Not only is it not relevant, but you are wrong. I walked down the aisle at the age of 5 and accepted Jesus into my heart. I was active in the church on Sunday morning, Sunday night. Everybody in that church thought that I was going to be a preacher. And some of them have come to debates that I've done to say, what happened? Don't pretend to know me, motherfucker.
That is absolutely, he's gone to the motherfucker level at, well, I wouldn't say too relatively earlier stage, but, you know, I mean, that's something that he usually finishes with. He doesn't, at this stage, he would usually wait a bit longer before he went to the motherfucker or jackass stage.
Just describe your experience and why somebody else, why you're convinced it's from God.
You don't actually hear Matt call anybody a motherfucker. I wonder what it is about this particular caller that made him call him a motherfucker.
Also raised in the church. Just wanted to point that out since he said
okay,
I also
so back to what I was saying. I received the power of the Holy Ghost, Matt. I spoke in tongues as the Spirit of God gave the utterance.
Oh, okay. This is
You're a liar.
You're
a liar, John. You're a fucking liar. You're a piece of shit liar. You lied about me, and now you're lying about you. You can't defend your God. You don't know shit about God. You couldn't make a sensible argument if I wrote it down for you and asked you to read it word for word. You don't know what you're talking about. You just called in to scream about how much you love Jesus and Matt's a fraud. You're a liar, John. Goodbye.
Honestly, John, you didn't even do that.
Oh, my.
John's not a theist.
Oh, let him scream. Let him scream.
You're a retard.
Oh, well, that's literally what he jumped in with. John's.
Okay, there we are. So let's just think about the evidence that he offered to support his proposition that Jehovah is the true God. He's a Christian, obviously, because he's quoting from Acts, and he said he was brought up in a Christian environment. Yeah, so he is a Christian, and his evidence is that Acts 2, is it verse 4? He repented of his sins and he felt the Holy Spirit. I don't know. He had an experience. He had a religious experience, and that's why he believes. Although from his own words, he was brought up in a Christian environment. He was going to church. The odds are he already believed anyway, and then he had this experience, and then it just bolstered his belief. But as we've been over this time and time again, somebody else's personal experience is not evidence. It may be evidence for them, but it's not evidence for anybody else. So he's not really calling in with anything that can be of any use to anybody. So that being said, let's look at how the call actually went. So yeah, Jimmy spotted very quickly what kind of personality type he is. I suspect he lives in the kind of environment where, I don't know for what reason, but he's used to people not opposing him, not contradicting him, and he's used to getting his own way. So I don't know what kind of environment he lives in, but that's what he's used to. He also sounds like he could be potentially, well, I won't say he could be, well, he could be potentially, he sounds like he could be potentially very nasty, verbally and maybe even physically. He's not the kind of person that I would want to come anywhere near. I mean, let alone a discussion with religion face to face. There's absolutely no way. If I saw this kind of, if I went into a bar for a drink, or, you know, I don't drink actually, but you know, let's supposing I went into a bar and I saw this character and he was mouthing off like this. When it comes to my own personal safety, I'm a coward. I really am. I mean, if I thought he was potentially physically violent, I would probably get out of his way and go and sit somewhere else in the bar. I would probably even leave if I heard him, you know, talking the way that he was talking to Matt and Jimmy. I would get the hell out of his way because I don't want to be around people like that. Yeah, so in my opinion, they dealt with the call absolutely correctly. They called him out. Matt insulted him. He pulled him down. He pulled him down a notch or two, and he exposed him fully. And I was glad they let him rant and scream at the end and use that slur, because really it exposed exactly the kind of person that he is. I can only imagine that there are Christians out there listening to that, face palming. You know, he is the last kind of person that they want to be representative of Christianity. I'm quite sure that's the case. So I do believe, in fact, that he was actually a real, a Christian. He's not a troll. You know, he was just too convincing an act. He should be, if he's a troll, he should be on the stage because that was just too convincing, I think. And many people in chat, as I was watching, were saying, I don't think he's a troll either. A lot of them were saying, he sounds real. Very scary, unpleasant person, and I'm glad they dealt with him like that. So let me know what you think. Any more thoughts about the call? So thanks for watching. Bye for now.